When a Titan music mogul is targeted with a ransom plot, he is jammed up in a life or death moral dilemma. By the way, this movie is brought to you by A24 and Apple. Speaking of Apple, this movie will be in theaters exclusively for a couple weeks, 2 to 3. Then it will go on to live forever on Apple TV Plus, where you can stream it sometime in September. I don't understand the strategy. Make it actually last long in the theaters, then drive the attention to the streaming platform, but hey, whatever, this is the new era of filmmaking. This movie is really an adaptation from two things, the film High and Low and a book called King's Ransom. The best way to describe my experience with this film is unique. This movie is clearly a love letter to a lot of different things, culture, politics, New York City. Boston sucks, by the way. But on the other side of being a unique experience, the music choices, specifically with the score, can be jarring, especially in the first half, and later on becomes somewhat beautiful. The setup is pretty straightforward. King, Denzel Washington, is stuck in a moral dilemma where he originally thinks, him and his wife think, that his son has been kidnapped. No, it's actually his friend. And where in one mindset he was willing to give out $17.5 million to A$AP Rocky, the kidnapper, but now everything's kind of changed when he realized, oh, it's my friend's son that was kidnapped. Maybe I don't want to give away that money. It's not my fault that they made the mistake and kidnapped the wrong kid. From there, Spike Lee uses the premise to dive into morality, loyalty, and the cost of doing what's right. What I loved most about this film is how it breaks down its own characters. King starts out as a humble, self-righteous man that quotes scripture to his family, his friends, but what happens when everything starts to crumble in front of you? Do you still hold those same values? Are you still quoting those same scriptures? And he doesn't curse at all in the beginning of the film until everything starts to kind of flip around for him. That's when almost the real side of him starts to come out, the more vulnerable side. And that's not to say he's this evil human being, but he's deeply flawed, and I really appreciated that in this experience. The contradiction feels honest and human, and it's one of the most engaging parts of this script. Speaking of engaging, Jeffrey Wright is incredible as King's friend slash chauffeur driver, where their dynamic is believable. You believe they have been in this ride life together for a very long time. Another great actor, his first appearance, he only has a couple scenes, but I can tell it's looking really bright for his future. And of course, if his dad is Jeffrey Wright, you have the other Wright, his son, actually playing his son in the film. Clearly, between both King and Paul, there is this perspective of faith, and there is a respect to it. It can be easy to quote scriptures, but it can be hard to live it out. This movie obviously has plenty of cameos. You even have Ice Spice showing up in her first probably major lead role. I don't really follow her career. She's fine. She literally has like 5 or 6 lines. It's a blink and you'll miss it moment, so it's nothing really too important. But the other artist that actually has a heavier presence, especially in the second half of the film, is A$AP Rocky. And he does a fine job with what he's given. Sometimes it can be a little bit heavy-handed, but they do utilize his skill sets in a very intense encounter in the third act between Denzel and him. Now, Spike Lee clearly has a lot of love and a lot of passion for certain topics, but sometimes they can be a little too on the nose, where all of a sudden they'll be talking about AI, which I actually appreciate, especially in this field called cinema, art, and it needs to be discussed because it's something that is not going away. I admire that, and it felt pretty organic, but then there's other things that come up on a political level or product placement like iPhone that just feels so jarring and takes you out of the film. The first act is really where I have a lot of my issues, and when the rest of the movie happens, it's great, but there's some really awkward editing and music placement where I can understand that it's probably an homage to the original film, which I have not seen, but that's just my assumption. Some of these music sequences just do not match the dialogue or the scenery whatsoever at all. Until later on, you kind of just let it overwhelm you and you get adjusted to it, and even beautiful at times, but especially in that first act, it's really jarring. Overall, Highest to Lowest is exactly what its title suggests. There's some highs and some lows. It's been one of the more interesting movie-going experiences I've had this summer where, yeah, there were some issues, but I really did enjoy it, and there were things that actually stood out to me that left some deeper feelings that I kind of wanted to explore. 7 out of 10. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this review. It really means a lot. Please do not forget to like and subscribe, but most of all, do not forget to be blessed.